Evening, everyone. This is going to be a quick video. I often get asked about print and cuts and what do I do with my Cameo to do a print and cut. I've done a few of these. I've done a few of these videos, but I figured I would come live because I had to print out one to ship off to someone. Well, I have to cut a few of them. So just going to show you guys really quick how I print and cut. I don't really have a lot of issues when it comes to it. Hopefully me just showing my process will help others who are having issues with print and cuts. Okay, so we're going to jump right into this. I am going to show the the program, just so that you can see how to set it to cut edge. And then we're just going to go ahead and cut this thing. I've already printed them out on my Epson 7720 that has pigment ink. You can do it with sublimation ink, but for transfers, I normally use pigment ink. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Let's go here. All right. So whenever you set it up, for me, I'm going to go to my registration area first. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I have mine set up. I always max out my thickness. That's always on this particular one. I did make my length a little bit smaller. Normally I have it either at 6.625 or all the way maxed out at whatever it is, like 7.5 or something like that. I am using a wide format printer, so I'm able to take my insets all the way out to maximize the amount of space that I have to print and cut. These are about 10.145 inches wide, which really goes from edge to edge. So even though you can technically, do wider print and cuts, you have to think about the registration marks. So this is printed on 11x17 Jet Pro 3G opaque transfers, which are for darks. Even when I'm putting on a white shirt, I cut them out with dark transfers. They just are a better quality than the ones for light transfers. So it's about 10 wide for that one. And of course, your design and how that's set up will determine your height. But I just max it out to fit within the cut borders. I have a wide format printer, so I'm able to, again, take my insets all the way out. If you don't have one, you can watch my video talking about that with pushing everything else out and leaving your bottom one set to default. The Cameo 4 for me cuts totally different than all of my other machines. I cannot say that these are the best settings for you to use when cutting because it kind of, fluctuates for me. So I would say just kind of test on your machines and figure out what's going to be the best print setting or cut setting for your particular machine, your blade, the mat that you're using. All of those things affect the cut settings. As you can see, once you have a lot of things layered, you will have a bunch of cut lines on it. You technically don't even have to group this together. All you have to do is make sure that they are selected. You will see a box around them. Not having them selected, you'll see that, you still see the lines on it. If I just go cut edge, nothing happens. Like, it's not going to change. You have to make sure that you go and actually select it and then choose cut edge. So now it's going to cut around the edge and not account for all of the cut lines that are inside of there. And I'm just going to go ahead and, well, I'm not going to hit send yet. We're going to go over to my mat. I have to put it on the mat before I send it over that way. All right. Well, I don't know. I'm actually not doing this. I'm not sure what she's using this for, but I see the question there as far as Why are you using transfer sheets instead of sublimation? I actually don't do everything sublimation. Even if it's a cotton shirt, you would use a printable transfer. You cannot sub directly to cotton. If it is a colored shirt, you can't. But even when I use white cotton shirts, I use transfers for darks. So I know one of these is actually going on a white shirt for the birthday girl. I know for sure it's going on a white, a white onesie, I believe it is. But it's cotton, so you can't sub to cotton. There are a lot of times when you would use a transfer, and transfers were my first love before sublimation. And I hate that. I don't know what's going on with the lighting in here. It is just a hot mess.com. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. Let me clean this camera just a little. That doesn't help much. I don't know what's going on with the lighting in here. So, before I do that, let me take this off. I only use Cricut mats. They last a lot longer than Silhouette mats. I clean them with the Dollar Tree Awesome Spray. They're back sticky within a matter of seconds. So I love that about these. The Cricut mats do not line up like the Silhouette mats. So you do have to, like I call it, calibrate them. So you see I use masking tape. This is just some Dollar Tree tape. You can see that the actual line is above the sticky. If you put this in the sticky area, it's not going to register because that's not where the marks are going to look for it at. On a Cricut mat, the sticky area sits further to the right and down from where it should be. So I do have a full video on how to set this up in Silhouette Studio, and then how to tape it off and then cut it so that you have your line. And this is your indicator of where your paper or your material goes, whether it's paper or vinyl. And if you want to cut like edge to edge on vinyl. So you just line it up in that corner and just make sure that it's going along the side, across the top, to make sure that it does not move. We're going to just squeegee this down. Okay, and just make sure that it's down nicely. For the Cameo machines, you do have to line your mat up to the back side of this line. So you have the arrows touch the front side, the back side of it is where you would put your mat. So we're going to line that up right with that, load it in. And then I'm going to send it to cut from the machine. I mean, from the program. And so let's go back to, wrong one. There we go. There. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit send. If this pops up, I have no idea why it's popping up because this setting is not even a heat transfer vinyl setting. It definitely says cardstock plain. So I have no idea why the or have you mirrored is coming up, but you just send it as is because for printable transfers, you print it right side up. It doesn't need to be mirrored. And then you just cut it as is. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and prep my next one. Well, I can't actually get my mat from over there without falling over all this stuff. But I do need to prep the other one and put that on a mat as well. But this actually isn't going to take long to cut. Okay, I wasn't thinking about cotton because so used to doing sublimation. What kind of printable vinyl is that? It's not a vinyl. It is a printable transfer. It's nothing like vinyl and how it feels and how like, especially you have to be very careful with it when you take it off because it can rip very, very easily. It is Jet Pro 3G printable transfer. So Jet Pro 3G opaque printable transfers. Do I sell the transfer sheets blank? No, we do not offer transfer sheets. We only have sublimation paper. Mine has been popping up also. Yeah, so you have to, I always just squeegee it down, burnish it down, just so that it stays down. All right, so yeah, that did cut through. I'm going to move this off to the side over here so that I can load the next one. I'm going to use my brayer. So either a brayer or a squeegee will work just to make sure that it's down to your mat. Okay. And you're doing a kiss cut on this. You're not going to cut it all the way through. I'm going to line this up. And then send the next one. I have no idea what's going on with the lighting. All right, we're going to go send. This one is already set to cut edge. I do have to change the settings because when you change your screens, they don't match. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to leave that at 3. Take this down to 13, which is where the other one was. And I took my speed up to, I think, 5 and then just send. So it's a totally different cut. The registration marks are in totally different areas. So that will read those marks. And so as you can see, I did change them. It doesn't look like this one. I adjusted them. So for me to get accurate cuts, I always adjust my registration marks so that they're as close to the design as possible. So with this one, they were, so this one is messed up. It printed wrong. It had banding lines on it. So you can see where this is. If I hold this one up, you see how the marks are inside. So I bring them closer to the design so that I can have a more accurate cut. And then same thing with on this side, it is up higher than this one. Do I like my Cameo? Well, my whole company is called Silaholics Anonymous, and I teach people how to use Silhouette Studio and the Cameo machines. I have 6 of them. I have 3 originals, a 2, a 3, and 1 4. The 4 is not my favorite, but right now my office is a hotmess.com. So I do love the fact that it is Bluetooth and I don't have to have a cable running across my office. But my favorite one are my 2s. Well, it will be the Cameo 2 and my originals. But the 4 is okay. I just hate the fact that the cut settings are just so crazy and so off when it comes to the Cameo 4. But yes, I do love them. I have 6. Does it come with transfer sheets? No, you cannot transfer when it comes to, I'm sorry, y'all. Like this lighting is atrocious right now. I have no idea what is going on, why it's so janky right now when it comes to this lighting. But anywho, there is no transfer. There's no masking when it comes to these. That's why it's not a printable vinyl. You guys will get to see me do some printable vinyl work when I start to cut with my eco solvent printer. And I have the Caesar opaque, no, what's it called? Soft opaque, I don't know, it's something like that. And that is a printable vinyl, and you can use a mask, like a transfer sheet with that. With these, you cannot. So this is strategically designed, which I already have one here because it had banding lines on it. So it is cut to where it is all one piece. You have to be very careful. This will split in a heartbeat. So be very, very careful when you are removing it away from the backing and removing any cavities. Just be very, very, very careful. So see, it's one whole piece. And so you'll just put this down on the shirt and press it. It's almost like sublimation in that the colors are very dull. And once you press it at 375 degrees for 30 seconds, or you can do 350. I kind of split the difference. My heat press usually never leaves off of 365. So you can do it at like anywhere between 350, 375 for about 30 seconds or so. If you're going to put it on colored polyester shirts, you have to do it in small bursts and also take the temperature down significantly because polyester shirts will bleed through the back. There is no dye migration block on transfers. So when I send them, I already pull the negative away just so that they don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to unload that. I'm going to come down here and lift it up. And see, it still didn't cut ideally, which is why I like to pull it away just in case it wasn't cut ideally and, you know, the customer just wants to go and just rip it off. They'll end up ripping their transfer. But this is a Cameo 4 issue. I cannot stand the way the Cameo 4 cuts. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. My settings are never that high for my other machines. But I always cut it away because I don't want my client to rip it, especially if they've only ordered enough for what they need. Like they need this to be perfect. So I'm going to have to use some scissors to cut that. I had trouble separating that paper from the backing. It does not peel without breaking, and paper is still stuck to the back. Is that normal? So what you want to do is pull the negative away first. And once you do that, it'll make it easier to pull away. Why it probably didn't pull away if you still had the negative is you cut too deep. And so with the pressure of it, when you're trying to pull it away, you have the paper still stuck to it because of how you're trying to remove it. So the best thing to do is to remove it away, and then you can kind of get one little edge and get up under there. So even if it is cut too deep, you can really work it and work it away from the paper. So always remove the negative area first, as well as your inner cavities. Oh, the pop-up mirror. Oh, okay. Why don't you mirror the transfers? Because this is a transfer for darks. The adhesive is on the back, so you don't mirror these. You print it right side up because you take it right off, put it down, put a piece of parchment paper on top, and then press it. The ones for for lights, you mirror because you flip the entire thing over and press it. Oh, come on. Small cuts can be a pain in the butt, especially when it wasn't an ideal cut. There we go. But this is one of the reasons why I remove these for my clients because if they're not familiar with it, you definitely will rip this. It rips easily. These are also not very forgiving under the heat. So you want to make sure that you, my suggestion would be to set it up away from the heat and then kind of bring it over to your heat press because it's not forgiving at all. Once it gets heated up. So we're gonna weed this one out too. I have a 3, but thinking about getting another cutter to use as well. I'm doing some print and cuts for the first time tonight. So did I hear you say you keep your design close to the registration marks? So I bring them in. You can't have it in the restrictive area, but yes, I do bring my marks in so that it's closer to my design. I don't leave it just spread all the way out. But you cannot have it. No part of your design can be in this restrictive area because then it won't read correctly and your cuts will be off. Yeah, girl, can't wait. Let's see. What happens if you have different pieces like small letters that isn't connected to the picture? You would have to place them by hand individually, which is not fun. So for something like this, the best way to set your design up is to where it's touching or put offsets on it to where you can cut it as one. So if it's not connecting, you would have to put it down individually because there is no transfer sheet or no carrier sheet or masking sheet, whichever terminology you want to use for these. And it's all done. I will sandwich them with a piece of, what's that thing called? Chipboard. Actually, no, you know what? I'm probably going to put this inside of one of the boxes that we put our 11 by 17 paper in and ship this off. So this is all done. What is the difference between this and EasySubli? Which one is better? EasySubli is basically the same thing like this. However, it was made to use sublimation ink with. Can you use sublimation ink with on this one? Yes. But EasySubli is more of a vinyl type. It has more of like a softer feel to it. It is supposed to work with its masking where you can do letters that are cut apart and you can just press it down and pick it all up. It is hit or miss when it comes to the EasySubli and that, but the whole purpose behind that was to be able to pick up smaller pieces because it does have a masking that will allow for that. These don't. But it's just the hand feel of it. That's really the only difference, but it's the same thing. That's why for me, I'm not big on EasySubli. I'll do printable transfers over EasySubli all day, every day, because it's less expensive. And at the end of the day, you really come out with the same thing. EasySubli still can be heavy if you do one big piece. It's not like it melts into the shirt. You feel that it's there. It does have a softer like feel to the touch. It feels almost like velvet, but as this one, once it's on there, it's going to feel like plastic and sound like plastic. But it still works. I have plenty of shirts. I've never had a customer complain about using these. And when you cut them up like this, where it's not one solid piece, it does give it more movement, and therefore has a better feel for it. Like on the shirt, should I say. All right, so really quick, easy, simple. Now I'm going to box this up, print out this shipping label, and get this all sent off. All right, guys, if there are no other questions, I am done. I shall talk to you guys later. Thank you so very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified whenever I release new content or do a live tutorial. Also, don't forget that our website, shop.silaholics.com. We have sublimation ink, sublimation paper, transfers, templates, and things like that. We have the heat tape, the cartridges, and chips for the 7820 and 7840 Epson printers, as well as cartridges for the Workforce 77 series and 72 series printers. We also have, our ink bottles work with EcoTank, so you can use that. And we have that Change the Game sublimation paper that allows you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees for just 30 seconds for most heat presses. The highest you may have, the longest you may have to do is like 45 seconds. But I pretty much do everything at 365 for 30 seconds because with my Hottronics, I really can do 360 for 20 to 25 seconds. So it's amazing paper, no cover sheet required. So check us out. We do have sample packs available on the site as well. All right. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Until next time, guys, have a great one and be ink credible. Peace.